The grand hall of the Galactic Council stretched higher than the eye could follow. Its walls shimmered with glowing crystal panels that pulsed with soft blue light, as if the chamber itself were alive. Thousands of voices whispered in a dozen alien tongues echoing across the domed ceiling. The council was in session, and today's agenda carried weight that could shape the galaxy for centuries. At the center of the hall stood a circular platform, raised just enough so every delegate could see whoever stood upon it. The platform's surface was smooth silver, marked with the insignias of all the member species. Around it, tiered rows of seats curved like a great amphitheater, filled with ambassadors, royals, and envoys from hundreds of worlds. Among them stood Princess Liara of the Ailari. She wore the flowing silver robes of her people, a garment that reflected the light like moonlit water. Her skin was pale with a faint shimmer, and her long hair carried the faintest glow, marking her royal lineage. She was young by her people's standards, barely a century old, but her presence carried dignity. Liara stood straight, though her heart raced. Today, the council was to discuss the fate of Earth, the newly encountered world that had only just been granted a seat at the table. Many saw the humans as dangerous. Others saw them as tools. Liara, however, felt uncertain. She had studied humans, curious, stubborn, born on a death world yet always adapting. They did not follow the neat rules other civilizations obeyed. Some called them reckless. Some called them brave. The murmurs in the chamber hushed as the council leader, an ancient being of the Tharun species, rose from his seat. His voice carried across the hall, deep and vibrating. Today we gathered to decide whether Earth shall be granted full status within the council. Their representatives are here. Their species is young, but their influence already spreads. Many fear what they may become. Many believe they must be guided or contained. At his signal, the doors at the far side of the chamber slid open with a hiss. A small group of humans entered. At their front walked Captain Elias Kane. He wore a formal dark uniform with simple silver trim, nothing extravagant compared to the glowing robes or jeweled armor of other envoys. Yet his posture carried quiet strength. His eyes scanned the chamber with calm focus. Though clearly out of place among so many alien rulers, he walked as though he belonged. Liara's gaze locked onto him the moment he entered. And then it happened. Her chest tightened as warmth spread through her body. A sudden light flared at her collarbone, glowing beneath her robes. She gasped and instinctively raised her hand to cover it, but it was too late. The glow spilled into the air, brilliant and undeniable. The soulmate signal. 1,000 voices erupted at once. The signal. Impossible. With a human. The glow pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Liara's breath caught as she looked across the chamber. Elias had stopped walking. His brow furrowed, his eyes locked on her. And then, before the council's eyes, a second glow shimmered faintly across his chest. Not as bright as hers, but real. The resonance. The chamber exploded into chaos. Delegates shouted, some standing, some slamming their hands against the tables. To see the signal activate was rare. It was an ancient, sacred bond recognized across countless civilizations. To see it happen here in the middle of a political session with a human, that was something no one had imagined. Liara's pulse raced. She felt heat rise to her cheeks, though Ailari did not blush like humans. She tried to steady her breath, but the warmth in her chest would not fade. She could feel the pull, the invisible thread connecting her to Elias. Every instinct urged her closer to him, but she could not move. The council leader raised his hand, demanding silence. His deep voice boomed through the chamber. Control yourselves. This signal cannot be ignored, but neither shall we rush to judgment. Princess Liara, step forward. Her legs felt heavy as she walked to the platform. Every gaze followed her, some filled with awe, others with suspicion. Captain Elias Kane, the leader continued, step forward as well. The human walked with steady steps. His expression was calm, though his eyes betrayed his confusion. When he reached the platform, he glanced once at Liara. Their eyes met. The warmth in her chest grew stronger. She knew then. It was real. The leader's gaze swept over the chamber. The signal of soulmates is not a thing of politics. It is beyond law, beyond decree. It binds two lives, no matter their species, but this bond raises questions none of us expected. Murmurs spread again. A delegate from the Zorath Dominion rose sharply, his scaled body glittering under the lights. His voice hissed like a blade drawn from a sheath. This is unacceptable. A princess of the Elari, bound to a death worlder? A human? This will upset the balance of power. It is a trick, a manipulation of their crude sciences. Others shouted in agreement. Some argued back, declaring that no science could mimic the soulmate signal. Through it all, Elias stood firm, saying nothing. Liara felt the need to speak, but her voice caught. She had never imagined this moment. Her people's legends spoke of the bond as destiny, but she never believed it would choose her so suddenly, or in front of the entire galaxy. Finally, the leader spoke again. Until this matter is examined, we shall suspend today's vote on Earth's membership. Princess Liara, Captain Kane, you will both remain under council protection until we can confirm the truth of this bond. The platform lowered slowly, returning them to the floor. Guards moved forward, not with weapons drawn but with the subtle presence of authority. The council session dissolved into shouting, arguments spilling across the chamber. Liara felt herself pulled away by her attendants. But before she turned, she stole one last glance at Elias. He was still watching her. For a moment, amid the chaos of the galaxy's most powerful hall, the rest of the world seemed to fade. The warmth in her chest whispered the truth. This was not an accident. This was fate. And fate had just set the galaxy on fire. The council chamber was emptying, but the echoes of shocked voices lingered in the high crystal walls. Princess Liara walked slowly down the hall with her aides flanking her. Every step felt heavier than the last. The warmth in her chest had not faded. It had grown stronger. The glowing soulmate signal, still faint beneath her robes, seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. She could not stop thinking about him. Captain Elias Kane. The human had stood tall, calm and unflinching, while the entire galaxy reacted as if the sky itself had cracked open. She had seen fear and awe in the eyes of the council, but Elias, he had only looked at her with a quiet understanding that left her breathless. Her advisors murmured behind her. Princess, the human is dangerous, said Tayran, a veteran counselor. Do you understand what it means for you to be bound to him? He comes from a species of death worlders. They are unpredictable, stubborn, even reckless. Our people have always warned that such connections lead to chaos. Liara's hand instinctively went to the glowing mark. I feel it, Tayran. I cannot deny it. It is real, but a human? Tayran's tone sharpened. No one expected this. This could bring conflict. The council may see it as a threat. Even your own people may question you. Liara's gaze drifted back to the exit of the chamber. She could still see Elias through the open doors, speaking quietly with human diplomats. His posture was calm, but she could sense tension in his movements. He was like the center of a storm, steady while chaos roared around him. Leave him out of your worries, she whispered to Tayran. If the signal has chosen him, it is not something we can control. Meanwhile, in the human delegation room, Elias Kane sat quietly, absorbing the whirlwind of reactions. Earth's envoys were in a panic, speaking rapidly in their native language about the dangers of political entanglement. Some argued they should leave immediately, withdraw from the council and avoid getting caught in alien conflicts. Elias, however, remained focused. His mind raced with calculations, not just about politics, but about the pull he had felt toward Liara. The warmth in his chest, subtle yet insistent, told him that this bond was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He did not fully understand it, but he knew one thing. The connection was real and he could not ignore it. A senior human diplomat, Ambassador Halverson, leaned toward him. Captain Kane, you must understand, your species is young. The council does not trust us yet. You cannot allow personal feelings to cloud judgment. This is dangerous, Elias met his eyes. Ambassador, I understand the risk. But the signal chose me. I will not deny it. If the council wants proof, I will give it. If the galaxy wants war, it will not start because of my feelings. It will start because they underestimated humanity. Halverson studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well. But proceed with caution. Back in her private chambers, Liara paced. She had never been alone with such a dilemma. Her advisors tried to counsel her, but she felt a strange defiance growing inside her. She had spent centuries learning how to obey, to follow the rules of royal protocol. But this was different. She recalled the first time she had learned about the soulmate signal as a child. The legends spoke of destiny, of a single bond so strong that no species could defy it. Many believed it was a myth, a story told to inspire loyalty and hope. But now she knew it was no myth. The light beneath her robes was undeniable proof. She did not know how a human, a creature from a world that the galaxy often laughed at, could be part of her destiny. But she... The day after the soulmate signal erupted in the council chamber, the galaxy seemed to hum with tension. News traveled faster than light. Holographic broadcasts of the glowing mark, the human, and the princess were already spreading to dozens of worlds. Some species celebrated the event as a miraculous sign. Others whispered warnings of disaster. But one faction, in the shadows of the council, was already plotting. The Zorath Dominion, a powerful and ancient race known for their cunning and cruelty, saw the bond as a threat to their control. They had spent centuries manipulating alliances, bending weaker species to their will and keeping young civilizations like Earth in check. Now a human had captured the attention of a princess and the galaxy was watching. That could not be allowed. In a dimly lit room aboard the Dominion's flagship, High Chancellor Zirin studied the holographic projection of Liara and Elias. His eyes were like molten metal, reflecting both rage and calculation. They cannot be allowed to stand together, he hissed. A human, a Deathworlder, influencing the Alari princess? It would destabilize the balance. Send word to our agents. They must find a way to sever the bond by any means necessary. Below deck, operatives prepared devices designed to disrupt communication, implants that could scramble emotional signals, and subtle poisons that left no trace. Zirin's plan was meticulous. The council must never see humans rise in prominence. This bond must be broken before it grows stronger. Meanwhile, back on the council station, Liara could feel unease creeping through the air. Though she was protected, she could sense the disapproval and suspicion from certain factions. Delegates who had been neutral now looked at her with doubt. Some whispered about her reckless attachment to a human. Others debated whether humans could even be trusted to survive the trials the council might demand. She sought Elias that evening, hoping to find reassurance. In a quiet corridor he waited, leaning against the smooth metallic wall. His expression was calm, but his eyes betrayed the awareness that danger was near. They are plotting, Elias said quietly. The Zorath Dominion will not accept this. They have always feared humans, and now they have a reason to act. We must be ready. Liara nodded, the glow at her collarbone faint but steady. I feel it too. I can sense their hostility, but I cannot ignore the signal. No matter what they do, it chose you. It chose us. Elias smiled faintly. Then we face it together. Humans have survived worse than shadowy politics and secret enemies. We adapt, we fight, and somehow, we endure. For the first time, Liara felt a spark of hope. She had been raised in a world of rules and traditions. She had never imagined that a human, a being so simple by comparison to galactic royalty, could feel like strength incarnate. But Elias radiated confidence, determination, and something raw, something that did not bend to fear. Their meeting was brief. They had to return to their respective quarters under council supervision. But even the short conversation had given Liara a sense of resolve. She could not hide, and she would not hide. That night, whispers turned into rumors. Operatives of the Zorath Dominion infiltrated the council station under the guise of routine inspections. They moved with silent precision, blending into shadows, observing the princess and her human soulmate. Any mistake could be exploited. Any moment of vulnerability could be used to destroy the bond. Liara, unaware of the immediate threat, slept uneasily in her chambers. She dreamed of a vast dark void filled with eyes that watched her. A voice whispered through the darkness, taunting her. He does not belong. You are alone. The galaxy cannot allow this. She woke with a start, her heart racing. The faint glow of the soulmate signal illuminating her room. Elias's presence lingered in her mind, grounding her even in the nightmare. The next morning, the council resumed sessions, though tension filled every corner. Liara noticed the sidelong glances, the murmured conversations. Even species she had considered allies now seemed cautious. They did not understand the bond, and many feared the unknown. Elias attended the session as well. Despite the watchful eyes of the council, he remained composed. He moved with a human confidence that some found unnerving. Delegates whispered about his courage, his quiet strength, and his refusal to be intimidated by the traditions and hierarchies that ruled the galaxy. During the day, the first sign of danger appeared. A small explosion shook the outer docking bay, narrowly avoided by maintenance workers. The council dismissed it as an accident, but Liara and Elias were not convinced. The energy signature did not match anything standard. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, designed to be a warning or test. Elias frowned. This was no accident. The Dominion is sending a message. They want to scare us. They want us to doubt ourselves. Liara clenched her fists. Then we will not be scared. We cannot. The signal. It is stronger than their threats. Word arrived that evening that an operative, caught attempting to access the princess's quarters, had been detained. The Dominion had tried to gather information about Elias, about Earth, about the bond itself. The Council's security forces increased their vigilance, but even that could not erase the unease in the air. For Liara, the threat was more than political. It was personal. The bond with Elias had grown in just a day, a connection that transcended fear, logic, and protocol. But now, with enemies in the shadows, it also became a vulnerability. Elias remained calm, but he did not underestimate the danger. Humans were not naturally attuned to the subtle manipulations of alien politics. But he understood one thing: trust, courage, and quick thinking could turn the tide. If the Zorath Dominion wanted to test them, he was ready. That evening, they met again in a secure observation deck overlooking the stars. "The shadows are watching," Elias said quietly, arms crossed. "They will try to break us, but they cannot break what is real. The signal, it is real, and it chose us." Liara nodded, her eyes glimmering with determination. "Then we must prepare. We cannot wait for them to strike first. We must show that we are united, that this bond cannot be undone." As they stood together, the faint glow beneath Liara's robes pulsed brighter, responding to Elias's presence. In that small, silent moment, the galaxy's chaos seemed far away. There were enemies, there were threats, but the bond was unshakable. In the shadows, however, Zirin and his agents continued to plan. They did not yet understand the strength of the bond they sought to sever. They saw only a human, fragile by galactic standards, and a princess isolated by protocol. They believed that intimidation, sabotage, and cunning would be enough. They were wrong, because humans had survived worse than centuries of political manipulation. And together with Liara, Elias was about to show the galaxy that the power of destiny was stronger than any shadowy threat. That night, as the twin moons of the council station glimmered above, Liara and Elias shared a quiet moment. They did not need words. Each felt the other's resolve, the quiet determination to face what was coming. The galaxy watched. Shadows moved, and the first threads of a larger conflict began to form. The enemies in the shadows were patient. But so were they. The council chamber had been silent for hours, but now a new kind of tension filled the air. Princess Liara and Captain Elias Kane stood together on the raised platform, facing the council once more. This time, the room was not only filled with delegates, it was lined with observers from dozens of worlds, all curious to witness the proof of a bond that had shocked the galaxy. The council leader, an ancient Tharun named Eldarion, raised his hands for silence. "The soulmate signal has been witnessed. The bond is undeniable, yet the council requires confirmation. For the sake of the galaxy, we must be certain that this union is genuine, not illusion or trickery. The trial of proof will now commence." Liara felt a ripple of anxiety, but the glow at her collarbone pulsed steadily. She glanced at Elias. His calm expression gave her courage. He nodded once, silently telling her that they were in this together. The first trial was one of mental synchronization. Both participants were connected through a crystal interface that projected their thoughts and emotions into shared holographic space. Delegates watched as a glowing representation of Liara and Elias appeared above the platform, showing their inner minds. The challenge was to match their thoughts, to show harmony and understanding. Liara projected her thoughts carefully. She focused on simple images: light, warmth, the sensation of holding someone's hand. Elias mirrored her images with ease, adding small details she had not consciously shared. The subtle flicker of stars she often saw in the council halls, the gentle hum of the chamber at night. Gasps filled the hall. Even the most skeptical delegates saw the synchronization. It was precise, intimate, and undeniably real. Next came the trial of combat unity. The council had arranged a simulated arena, where projected adversaries tested coordination between partners. Liara and Elias were armed with simple energy swords. They faced multiple holographic opponents moving swiftly and efficiently together. Each attack from Liara was complemented perfectly by Elias's movement. When she leapt to strike, he pivoted to guard. When he attacked, she anticipated his action. The spectators could see a bond that went beyond training. It was instinctive. "Impressive," murmured one delegate from the Soren cluster. "They move as one. Never have we seen such coordination between species." But the trial was not without danger. The council station floated in quiet space, its crystal walls shimmering softly under the glow of distant stars. But beneath the calm surface, tension brewed like a storm. Princess Liara and Captain Elias Kane had proven their bond in the trials, earning the respect of many delegates. Yet not all were pleased. The Zoreth Dominion, humiliated by their failed attempts to sabotage the trials, had prepared a more direct approach. High Chancellor Zirin's fleet lurked in the shadows beyond the station, silent but deadly. The Dominion would not allow a human and a princess to rise in influence without retaliation. Inside the station, Liara sensed a change. The whispers had grown sharper. Eyes followed her with veiled suspicion, and subtle barriers were being erected around her quarters. But none of this could shake the warmth of the soulmate bond. Elias was near, a quiet anchor amid the swirling fear. "Something is coming," Elias said as they walked through the corridors together. His voice was low, almost a whisper, yet firm. "The Dominion isn't finished. They'll strike soon. We need to be ready." Liara nodded. "I feel it too. But we are stronger together. If they want to test us again, we will face it side by side." It was only hours later that the first sign of betrayal struck. Security alarms rang through the council station. Delegates rushed from their chambers, and warning lights bathed the halls in red. Elias and Liara ran toward the command center, where council officers struggled to assess the situation. Holographic displays showed Dominion ships surrounding the station, blocking all exits. A message flashed on the main screen. "Princess Liara, renounce your bond with the human or suffer the consequences. The station and all within will be destroyed." The council erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted, some calling for negotiation, others demanding immediate retaliation. Liara's chest burned with anger. She looked at Elias, whose calm eyes met hers. "We do not back down," he said. "This is their test, and we will pass it." The Dominion's ships fired warning blasts, shaking the station. Lights flickered and the walls vibrated as the council scrambled to respond. But Liara and Elias did not hesitate. Together, they moved to the observation deck overlooking the surrounding fleet. The view was staggering. Hundreds of sleek black Dominion warships glimmered against the void, weapons poised. Liara felt the surge of fear, but she also felt the bond. It was steady, unwavering, a quiet strength that made the impossible seem achievable. "We can't fight them alone," Liara said, her voice firm, "but we can inspire others. If we show courage, maybe the council will rally with us." Elias nodded. "Humans survive by thinking fast, adapting faster. Let's make them see why." They moved swiftly through the station, coordinating with security teams and delegates who were willing to act. Liara used her influence as a princess to rally those who had hesitated, her words carrying the weight of both authority and emotion. "Stand with us," she called. "Do not let fear dictate your actions. The bond is real and it gives us strength." Elias worked alongside human engineers, quickly modifying the station's defensive systems. He coordinated shields, reinforced critical points, and prepared countermeasures, all under extreme pressure. His calm decisiveness impressed even alien engineers who had doubted human ingenuity. The Dominion launched a concentrated strike against the station's energy core. Explosions rocked the central chambers. Delegates were thrown off balance, and alarms screamed through every hall. Liara instinctively reached for Elias, their hands touching for a brief moment. The warmth of the soulmate signal surged through them, giving courage and clarity. With perfect timing, Elias directed a series of automated drones to intercept incoming attacks. Liara guided the Council's defense forces, using her strategic mind honed over centuries. Together, they acted as a single unit, seamlessly anticipating threats and neutralizing them. Still, the Dominion was relentless. A boarding party infiltrated the station, their cloaking devices allowing them to bypass standard defenses. They moved silently, aiming for Liara, But Elias had already anticipated such a move. He and a team of human and alien soldiers intercepted the intruders, using both skill and instinct to block every attempt. Liara fought with precision, her energy blades glowing with determination. She moved beside Elias, every attack and defense perfectly synchronized. Delegates watched in awe, some finally understanding what humans were capable of when facing impossible odds. At the climax of the battle, a Dominion agent managed to breach the observation deck. He aimed a weapon at Liara. Time seemed to slow. Elias acted instantly, leaping in front of her and deflecting the attack. The bond between them flared brightly, a visible aura of light that startled even the Council's veterans. The agent stumbled back, momentarily blinded by the intensity of the glow, and was captured by security forces. Liara's chest heaved, but her eyes were steady. "We will not yield," she said. Her voice carried across the station, reaching every corner. "No force in this galaxy can break what is meant to be. The signal has chosen us, and together we are unstoppable." Elias stood beside her, a silent pillar of support. "The Dominion underestimated humans," he said. "They always do, but we will survive. We always do." Outside, Dominion ships hesitated. They had expected fear and submission, but what they saw instead was courage, unity, and unmatched determination. Liara's leadership, combined with Elias's ingenuity and bravery, created a force that even the Dominion could not ignore. The Council, witnessing the defense, began to rally. Delegates who had doubted humans now took action, reinforcing security, supporting defense teams, and coordinating counterattacks. The station's defenses held, the Dominion's forces faltering under unexpected resistance. By the time the battle ended, the Dominion had retreated, leaving a trail of damage but failing in their goal. The Council station was intact. Liara and Elias had survived, and the galaxy had seen something remarkable. Liara turned to Elias, her eyes shining with relief and determination. "We passed another trial," she said softly. "Not of the Council, but of life itself." Elias smiled, his hand brushing against hers. And the galaxy watched. They saw humans rise not by chance, but by choice. They saw courage, intelligence, and heart. They will remember this day. In the aftermath, delegates from multiple species approached them, expressing respect and admiration. Even some skeptics admitted that humans could no longer be ignored, but Liara and Elias knew that this was not the end. The Zorath Dominion had retreated, but their threat remained. Shadows still lingered across the galaxy, waiting for the right moment to strike again. Still, for the first time, Liara felt hope that together they could face whatever came. The bond between them was more than a signal. It was proof of something greater: destiny, courage, and the power to change the galaxy. As they looked out at the stars, hand in hand, both knew that no betrayal, no attack, and no shadow could break what had been chosen. Together they were unstoppable. The Council station floated silently against the black expanse of space, scarred from the recent attack but standing firm. Damaged crews worked tirelessly, repairing walls and systems, while delegates whispered about the events they had just witnessed. Humanity's representative, Captain Elias Kane, and Princess Liara had not only survived, they had demonstrated a bond that no force, not even the mighty Zorath Dominion, could break. Inside the station, Liara stood by a large viewport gazing at the distant stars. The faint glow of the soulmate signal pulsed steadily at her collarbone. The warmth in her chest had become a constant presence, a reminder that fate had chosen her path, and that path led to Elias. He stood beside her, silent, his eyes scanning the galaxy. "They will come back," he said softly, though his tone held no fear. "The Dominion will not give up, but we are ready. Together we can face anything." Liara nodded. "The galaxy has seen our strength. They know now that humans are not weak, and that destiny is not a game to be controlled." Across the station, the Council convened an emergency session. Delegates debated the events, some calling for immediate retaliation against the Zorath Dominion, others arguing for caution. Liara and Elias entered the chamber together, their presence commanding attention. The Council leader, Eldarion, raised his hands. "Today the galaxy has witnessed something extraordinary. The bond between Princess Liara and Captain Elias Kane is undeniable. They have faced attacks, sabotage, and fear, and yet they stand united. The council can no longer ignore the reality before us, delegates murmured among themselves. Many species, once skeptical of humans, now regarded them with newfound respect. Stories of the human's courage, his ingenuity, and his calm decisiveness had spread across the station like wildfire. A representative of the Soren cluster stood, his voice resonant. I have doubted humans before, but today I saw their strength. The human captain and the princess fought with unity and courage beyond measure. If this bond is real, we must recognize it. It is a force the galaxy cannot deny. Even the Alari advisors who had once warned Liara about the dangers of trusting a human now nodded in quiet approval. The princess's judgment had proven sound. Liara stepped forward, her voice steady and clear. This bond is not just about me or Captain Kane. It represents something greater: trust, courage, and the ability to rise above fear. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Today, we show that they can stand alongside us, not